Hey guys, hopefully everyone is doing well. Today's target is to solve question number 5.9. The chapter which we are related with is cost profit volume analysis. We have discussed several concepts before solution of this question like fixed cost, variable cost, total cost. We have discussed contribution margin per unit, contribution margin ratio, break-even point unit, break-even point ratio. So these were the points we have already discussed, and I am literally willing to repeat everything which we have studied earlier, but within a very short time. Fixed cost we have discussed is the cost which would never be altered no matter what level of production you are making. The example which we have taken for fixed cost was rent of the factory. As you know, that fixed cost will not be altered no matter if you are working for 1 day, 2 day or 3 days. Then we have discussed variable cost which will be altered according to level of production. Example we have taken was electricity bill, more work, more hours, more number of workers, electricity bill will be increased, or less hours of working means electricity bill will be decreased. It was variable cost. Then you have seen your total cost, and how do you calculate your total cost by adding fixed and variable cost. Then you have seen your contribution margin, and how did you calculate your contribution margin by subtracting variable cost from sales. So in this way you had calculated by subtracting variable cost from sales. Contribution margin, then per unit contribution margin was calculated in the same way. How? Per unit sales was per unit sales minus per unit variable cost. Then you have seen break even point. This is very important aspect. Break even point is the point where your cost and revenues are equal. So in terms of units, if you want to calculate break even point, what you will do, take fixed cost and you are going to divide it with CM per unit, contribution margin per unit, and then you have seen your break even point, but in terms of dollars. In terms of dollar, when you will go, it means you will divide your fixed cost by contribution margin ratio. So these are the points. I'm still saying please focus and try to make practice of these questions. Then we have seen margin of safety in the previous question, and now we are on degree of operating leverage. This is the new phenomena, degree of operating leverage. Okay, and how do you calculate? You know how to calculate contribution margin. Calculate it first, and you will be dividing it with net margin. For that you can make your income statement, contribution margin income statement, with which you will be able to calculate both. So contribution margin and net margin, when it would be divided, you will get your degree of operating leverage. As you know, the very first thing in contribution margin income statement, contribution format income statement, you will write sales, and then you will subtract your variable cost. You will get contribution margin, and then you will subtract your fixed cost. Finally you will get net margin. So can you see that we are doing the same thing which we were doing for the solution of first question, and there is a new requirement. Read over here. Compute the company's degree of operating leverage. This is the formula of degree of operating leverage by dividing contribution margin to net margin. Contribution margin we already know how to calculate. Net margin we have already know how to calculate. So we will be putting amounts in this formula directly. So let's see our question. What we have is everything has been sorted out already. So just to see over here, contribution margin 36,000, and net margin, net operating income is also called net margin, which is 12,000. So you can directly put your amounts of formula over here instead of making it. Degree of operating leverage is calculated by taking contribution margin. How much contribution margin is? Read over here. Contribution margin 36,000. So you can put 36,000 and then you need to divide. What is your formula? Divided by net margin. Come over here. Net margin is 12,000. So put 12,000 over here. Now you can put these amounts on your calculator. 36,000 divided by 12,000. So in this way you have got your degree of operating leverage. You will write this formula in this way and then you will calculate your degree of operating leverage. First requirement was degree of operating leverage and you can see the answer 3 is written over here. Now using the degree of operating leverage, estimated the impact on net operating income. Please keep it in mind, if you want to predict your new net income, what you will do, your old or increase in net income, and it would be multiplied by degree of operating leverage. This is your formula for the impact. What was said in the question? Using the degree of operating leverage, estimate impact on net operating income. So conclusion is, when you want to see your increase in net income, what you will do? You will use this degree of operating leverage to find out the impact. So your new net income, how you can calculate? Increase in net income is described over here 10%. Please focus upon here 10%. So you will write 10 over here and come to the formula. You need to multiply it with what? Degree of operating leverage. You have calculated 3. Put 3 over here and now 10 multiplied by 3 is 30. Beside this you will mention its a answer in percentage. Alright, second requirement has also been sorted out. You can see that in managerial accounting you do not need to solve lengthy questions. These are small questions with which you will decide whether the situation is in your favor or it is unfavorable. Two formulas you have used today: degree of operating leverage by dividing contribution margin to net margin. It was given in the book, contribution margin was 36 and net margin was 12, and you had divided and got your degree of operating leverage as 3. Then you have learned a new lesson, how this degree of freedom, degree of operating leverage will help you to predict your new income. And it has been said that if there is an increase in 10% of sales, please focus upon the sentence. If you will increase your sale by 10%, your income will increase by 30%. I should write over here, if sales is increasing by 10%. So with the help of this degree of operating leverage, we have concluded that net margin will increase by 30%. So without even calculation, you can conclude it. This is the helpful statement. This is usable information which we have drawn from the data. Now again read it. 4 to 5 times I am requesting you to read it. What conclusion we have made? If sale is increasing by 10%, which was mentioned in the question, net margin will be increased by 30%. Right now your net margin is what? This is given in the question. Look at here, net margin is 12,000. So if you will increase your sales, it would be, what will happen? Your net margin will increase by 30%. This is our conclusion, and He is asking us to verify our statement. But I have said right now your net margin is 12,000. By increasing 10% in sales, that means you are increasing your sale by 10%. Your net margin will increase by 30%. This is what our degree of operating leverage is concluding. We'll have to verify it. Let's see, we will make our new contribution margin income statement and we will see that after increase in sale, whether your net operating income is increasing by 30%. So let's go over here. This is our contribution margin already made. We are hiring these headings and we'll use over here in little better space. Here we can write our old data which was given in the question. We will use this raw data. The old data was 120,000 was the sale. You write over here. I'm just copying so that you can understand the difference between old and new. 84,000 was your variable cost. Contribution margin was 36,000. Everything I'm copying from here. This was given in your question. Fixed cost was 24,000 and net margin was 12,000. This was old. And now what our claim is, we have calculated degree of operating leverage. And with the help of that operating leverage, we made a claim. And what is that claim? You have written over here. Here you have written that claim. You are saying that by increasing 10% in sale, net margin will increase by 30%. Okay. This was your old, and now we will increase our sale by 10%. This was given in the question. Operating income by 10%. Estimate the impact on operating income by 10% increase in sale. Old sales was 1,20,000. Here you will calculate your increase. How much increase is asked us to do? Sale old was 120,000 and increase is 10%. Take its 10%. 10% what? 1,20,000. And how will you take 10%? Multiply it with 10 and divide it by 100. So it is increase. And what would be your new sales? Old sale was 1,20,000, increase is 12,000. So new sale will be 1,20,000 old sales plus what is increased is 1,32,000. In this way, you will calculate your new income statement. Let's arrange it and we will be proceeding next. As you know that your sale has been increased. Due to increase in sales, your variable cost will also increase. And we have established a formula. I will write over here. This is not the exact formula. You will not find this formula in any book. Old variable cost, you will divide it with old sales and will multiply it by new sales. So here is your formula. What I was saying, this is not the formula which you will find in any book. I have just written to facilitate you, and here you will do this. Again, it has been taken as multiplied and we don't want it to use any formula, but the Excel is using it as formula. Anyhow, we can understand from here. Old variable cost would be divided by old sales and will multiply by new sales. We will apply over here. Actually, Excel will not excuse us if we are using. Okay, we'll have to delete it because Excel wants us to write formula. Okay, without is equal to we are writing, you will use old variable cost and you will divide it with old sales and will multiply by new sales. Okay, this is your formula and you will apply over here. Your old variable cost was 84,000. Please note it down and you will divide it with your old sale that was 120,000. Put your bracket on left side as well. And now you need to multiply it with your new sale, which is 1,32,000. Put over here 1,32,000. So here your variable cost has arrived. Please keep it in mind. This was the formula, Desi formula it is. It is not given in the book. I have just created for your facility. Whenever your sale will be changed, what you will do, you will apply this formula to calculate your new variable cost. For that, what you have done, please see over here, you have taken old variable cost divided by old sale and multiply by new sales. So your variable cost has been arrived and this is your new variable cost. Now you can calculate your new contribution margin by subtracting your variable cost from sale. Sale is 132,000, subtract your variable cost which is 92,400. So here you have calculated your new contribution margin. Now let me know if your sale was 1,20,000, your fixed cost was 24,000. Now your new sale is 132. Your fixed cost will increase or decrease. Some of you will give the correct answer. Fixed cost means fixed. It would never be altered. So same 24,000 will be put over here. It's time to calculate our net margin. Now here please understand why we are making this new statement, because we want to prove it. What is our proof? Look here, we have claimed in second statement that our net income would be increased by 30% according to this degree of operating leverage. Operating leverage we have calculated is 3 and increase is 30%. Degree of freedom, after calculation of degree of freedom, this net profit should be increased by 30%. Old net profit was 12,000 and here you are calculating your new net profit by subtracting contribution margin and fixed cost. So you have your new net margin which is 15,600. This is acceptable that your profit has been increased from 12,000 to 15,000, but we need to prove it whether your profit has been increased by 30%, because we have used degree of freedom, degree of operating leverage formula over here. And with the help of this degree of operating leverage, you have claimed that degree of operating leverage was 3 and your profit would be increased by 30%. This was our claim and we practically have calculated both income statement, old and new. Have you understand? Now will we prove it? The increase in net income is 30%. How much net income has been increased? For this you will calculate, this was your new net income and this was your old net income. Total increase is 3600. What it is? Increase in income. And according to our claim, it should be 30%. For that we will apply a formula, simple formula, it's not the formula. Increase income and it would be divided by our sales. It would be multiplied by 100 so that we can have its percentage multiplied by 100. We need to know how much percentage of increase is present over here. Increased income we have calculated over here 3600. and you are going to divide it with sale was 1,20,000. Old sale we are taking, and then we are putting brackets upon here, and finally we will divide it with 100. This is our statement. Now put it on your calculator. 3600 is divided by 1,20,000. Increased in income and sale. Sale was 12,000. Okay, profit has been increased. I have to see, I'm just feeling that something is wrong. Your contribution margin, okay, is increased by 3,600. Your old sale increase is 12,000. So increase is what? By increasing sale 12,000. Okay. So here we are looking our formula. You will have to see increase in sale. Okay. Let's put this formula. So increase in sale we have mentioned over here is 12,000. By increasing 12,000, our profit, how much has been increased? We will see it by putting brackets upon here and then multiply it with 100. So here you have calculated 30%, which is actually your percentage. So indirectly, we have calculated the percentage in two ways. First, we have used the formula of degree of operating margin, operating leverage. This formula was used to predict our increase in net income, and net income has been increased 30%. This was the formula we have used, and the similar way we practically have seen how much profit has been increased. We can see that from 12,000 to 15,600 profit has been increased by 3,600 by increasing what? 12,000. So we have divided it 3,600 by 12,000 increase. Please keep it in mind, both ways we have used the word increase. Increased income divided by increased sales and multiplied it with 100. So here was the increased sale, here was the increased income. You have divided and multiplied by 100. So finally we have got the answer 30%. It means we have proved it. Our degree of operating leverage can be used to predict our new profit. Again, listen, if you will calculate your degree of freedom, you can predict your sale for the coming period without having any calculation. So we haven't calculated this income statement before, and with the help of just this leverage, we predicted that our sales or our income would be increased by 30%. So as a manager, you don't have to make even this tiniest income statement. You will use just this small formula, and with the help of this formula, without calculation, you can conclude that our income would be increased by 30%. And here we have proved it as well. In practical, our income has also increased by 30%. Hopefully you people have understood. It was our question number 5.9, though it was very tiny question, but literally it would uh, create a storm in your brain. As a manager, you have to take the decision. For decision, you do not need to have clerical works. Just with the help of small formulas, you can take the decisions. So it was all about 5.9. We have completed it, and hopefully we will meet soon again for the solution of any other question in future. Up till then, please take care of yourself, and I'm requesting you to pray for me as well. It's time to say goodbye. Thank you very much. Allah Hafiz.